guys, Fulu coming to you with another commentary slash video. So shout outs to Chizazed, or I believe his channel name is Chizazed. And again, I'm like, you have some people on the internet. I'm not going to name their names. They're going to be on Instagram. They're going to be on Clubhouse. They're going to be on TikTok, even capping for American women, and most of and the demographic of millennial American women. Black American women, promoting this black love and things like that. Black love exists and all these kind of things. Let's just, from an Islamic perspective, I'm gonna basically, this is not about man marrying out or anything like that, but it's just going to set the tone for what I want to talk about. So let's just say, for example, we look at the history of Islam, right? A lot of the Arabs back in those times, they were brown skinned, or some of them were black skinned. However, due to conquest, people became Arabized. So the Syrians became Arabized, the Jordanians became Arabized, the North Africans became Arabized, because they originally weren't Arabs. And on top of that, when Arabs went to Spain, for example, they really didn't bring any women with them, so they basically married the local women there, and it kind of changed the complexion and the phenotype of the Arabs, right? So from an Islamic standpoint, you're within your rights to marry out. You shouldn't hold yourself to be race loyal if the person that you're trying to be race loyal to is not going to be loyal to you. It's going to be difficult and things like that. Black, quote unquote, black love is not worth it at that time. Your peace, your progress, and most importantly, your relationship with your Lord is more important than the banner of black love, especially when that black love ain't really love anyway, because of how these, black women are here. Now, I want to say something because and let me just start, forgive if I'm butchering this verse, but I want to read this part of this Quranic verse, and also I want to go into detail about it as well, and then I want to go into the woman who basically is a shaitan and would not fall in line with this verse. Now, this verse is in Surah Nisa 4:34, and it goes like this: A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Rijalun qawman amma nisaa bima faddalallahu ba'dahum ala ba'd. وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَفِيظَةٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا Hafizullah. Basically, it says, men are the caretakers of women, and as men have been provisioned by Allah over women, and tasked with supporting them financially. And righteous women are devoutly obedient and when alone protective of what Allah has entrusted them with. Now, there are different tafsirs for this. There's some different tafsirs for this, but one of the tafsirs basically came from Ibn Abbas, Tanwir al-Mikbas. It says basically men are in charge of women. They are in charge of overseeing the proper conduct of women, because Allah have made the one of them, the men, through reason and the division of booty and estates to excel the other, the woman, and because they spend of their property for the support of the woman through paying the dowry and spending on them, which the women are not required to do. And this is talking about good women. Now he says, those wives who are kind to their husbands and are obedient. They are obedient to Allah regarding their husbands and guarding their own persons and the wealth of their husbands in secret. How many modern women can do that today? Or is it, girl, he gave me this Birkin bag, and things like that. Keeping up with the Joneses, basically. When their husbands are not present, through Allah's protection of them, in that He gave them success to do so. Now let's look at another. The men stand over the woman through that which God has preferred, some of them over others, that which they expend their wealth. He gave the men more than the woman because the burden is all on them. For theirs is the perfection of strength and the eminence of aspiration. They carry burdens in the measure of strength or in the measure of aspirations. Resolutions are made in the measure of the folk of resoluteness. Okay, the Tafsir Jalain. Let's look at that. Men are in charge. They have authority over women, disciplining them and keeping them in check because of that with which God has preferred the one over the other. That is because God has given them the advantage over women in knowledge, reason, authority, and otherwise. And because of what they expend on them, of their property. Therefore, righteous women among them are obedient to their husbands, guarding in the unseen, that is, guarding their private parts, and otherwise during the spouse's absence, because of what God has guarded from them. He enjoined their male spouses to look after them well. So that comes from Tafsir Jalain. So it's basically saying, and this is coming from a scholar, okay, mind you, this is coming from a Tafsir, a Mufassirin. Okay, this is coming from a Mufassirin. Okay? Now, men are, and this is Tafsir Ibn Kathir right here. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women, meaning that the man is responsible for the woman. He is her maintainer, caretaker, and leader who disciplines her if she deviates. And that discipline doesn't necessarily mean physical discipline. It could just be putting her in check. Like, don't do that. Like, fear Allah. Like basically saying something like, fear Allah in your tone to me. You know? That could be a form of discipline. Okay. And so when it says because Allah has made one of them to excel the other, meaning because men excel over women and are better than them for certain tasks. This is why prophethood was exclusive of men, as well as other important positions of leadership. Now, this was in hadith was in a hadith of Bukhari. Okay. Nailatu alayhi salatu salam said, people who appoint a woman to be their leader will never achieve success. And that has to do with like in very, very important positions, you know. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the commentary, and then you know, we'll like break it down basically. But I'm gonna get into the commentary after what I'm about to read. It was reported that Nailatu alayhi salatu salam said, the best woman is she who, when you look at her, she pleases you. When you command her, she obeys you. And when you are absent, she protects her honor and your property. So now, what I just explained is the complete opposite of modern Western women today. You know, it's the complete opposite. As I said before, and every day, even today, someone tried to swing their a woman tried to swing her dick today, like in the boxing gym. You know, like I said, no, I'm not gonna spar you. You know, you're not. I even told her, you're not on my level. You know, I had to tell her, like, you're not on my level, you know? Like, I even told her, like, even if I go at my 5, I told her that my 5% would feel like 100%, you know, on you. You know, and so that's what it was like, stop. You know, please stop it. Chill out. Okay? Because they've been brought up to think that they can do these things, and that, you know, at this time, you know, they've been social engineered. There's been so many movies that have social engineered them to thinking in these kind of twisted ways. But let's look at, you know, one of the mainstays that was on my other, page that I have now made exclusively for boxing. Let's look at Miss Brittany Renner and what she has to say, and how what I just read to you guys is just the complete opposite of what a modern woman stands for, and unfortunately what a modern Muslim woman stands for, who is brought up here, who came up here in the United States, right? It's very, very sad, you know, that we're at this point. But let's listen to her, and then let's look at the comments in which she wrote. You know, let's listen to what she says, break it down, and let's look at the people's comments, okay? Now, and if you're new to the page, and you don't know who Brittany Renner is, Brittany Renner is basically an Instagram personality. You know, she had her 304 phase. She trapped an NBA player, got the baby from him, and you know, single mom now. And she even said by her own admission that her one of her inspirations was Karen Steffens, and you guys know her as Superhead. I know you guys remember her, but let's listen to what she has to say.
It's painfully obvious why men love the idea of a submissive woman.
Yeah, we love the idea because we're in the world. We're in the world, and we know that the world basically is like God put us and entrusted us to be leaders in the world. God entrusted us to be like the inventors in the world. God trusted us to basically be basically the authority in the world. I mean, I challenge like anybody to name me a woman who has came up with something like Google. Name me a woman who's came up with a company like Apple. Name me a woman who's came up with a company like Tesla. Name me a woman who's came up with a company like freaking Android. Like, name me a woman like who has done something on that scale. You know? So, in essence, we like the idea of a submissive woman because I'm not talking. I don't like to use the word high value man. I hate using that damn word. But anyhow, I'm talking about the men who are about something. I'm talking about the men who are focused. I'm talking about the men who are like really trying to get themselves going. I'm not talking about the Pookie and Ray Rays. You know, I'm not talking about Pookie, Ray Ray, Chatter, Tyrone. You know. But let's hear what she has to say.
Submissive, per its definition, is ready to conform to the authority or will of others.
So, you know, she's basically trying to sound smart again, and she's trying to use the dictionary for submissive. You know, but let's actually look at the definition, because the thing is with the dictionary, like, it can have different meanings. So yeah, let's look at it. It can also mean not only conform to the authority or will of others, but it can mean just meekly obedient or passive. You know, it can also mean that. So obedience isn't necessarily conforming to the will of others, because you have a choice. That's the thing. You have a choice if you want to be obedient or not.
The prefix sub means under. Think of subpar, submarine.
Submarines actually do a lot of good work, though. They do logistics work. They do reconnaissance work. They're actually good. They're actually pretty good, actually. You know, if you have a submarine. And also, you can use that word sub for different things. It doesn't just mean under. So you mean to tell me subconscious means, oh, I'm like, it's below, like, my conscience is so low. So you mean to tell me, like, for example, let me see. I'm trying to think of another example. So substitute doesn't necessarily mean under. It means just basically like replacement. This is the logic of these women, though, bro. I swear to God.
In short, your world is under his. Now they're seeing.
No, that's not how it works. You're just under his program. You still have your own world. As a matter of fact, when the Prophet, when Nailatu alayhi salatu salam married Khadijah, right? She was a businesswoman at the time. But when he came into the household and he got Nabuwat, she fell in line with what he was doing and what his mission was. But it didn't stop her business dealings. Okay. When Imam Ali, Rahmatullah alayh, when he married Fatima, it didn't stop her from learning the religion. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Seems to be a theme here. Good girls versus bad girls. A lock that can be opened with many keys is a broken lock.
And that would be you. That would be you. That definitely would be you. I mean, like you, I guess I can say that the way she's talking about it, maybe not so much, but the way I'm talking about it, yes, she is absolutely correct, because I mean, she didn't put a lock on her box. Like, she even admitted that, like, many people have had a turn. It's just that unfortunately PJ Washington became the sucker that turn, like, ended up bad for him.
And if you can't submit to a man, you're gonna die alone. So
well, the thing is, I mean, as you saw in those like Quranic verses that, or that Quran verse I read, you know, Allah has it for a woman to do that, submit to a man, and you know, but that man, of course, is not the type of man they want. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, like a guy like, I'm gonna try to take an example. I'm gonna try to take a little bit of an example. I'm trying to think of like a CEO. A guy like Dangote in Nigeria, or one of my favorite entrepreneurs in Cameroon by the name of Nana Buba, who is a self-made man, self-made millionaire guy. Modern women wouldn't want those guys because of the simple fact they don't fit the Pookie Ray Ray persona, right? Although they qualify for like a good woman, a submissive woman, because they're going to take care of everything, right? So the thing is that they, like, women here, they don't even want like a guy. The thing is, they don't even want a guy who's in a position to lead. That's the thing. They don't even want that, as seen here.
Question to men is, do you want perfect poly?
We do. We know nobody is perfect, but we do want petite. Let's just say we want. Let me think of some names real quick. We do want petite Pinda, you know. We do want righteous Rukaya, right? We do want adorable Amina. We do want assertive Alia, right? And we do want, let's just say, submissive Salimatu. We do want them. But she says they're puppets. So all of a sudden, a woman who wants to follow a man's program is a puppet. Okie dokie.
A puppet? A prisoner? or a partner who
How are they a prisoner when, like, last time I checked, a prisoner doesn't really get the benefits that a wife would get, such as, like, let's just say a standard of living that maybe they couldn't afford on their own. Let's just say, like, access to resources, right? While keeping their own resources if they choose to go out and get more resources. Prisoners don't get feel good from the opposite gender, and I mean quite as kept. Women like it as much as men, right? So yeah, I don't know what you're getting at, you know what I mean, but you sound pretty dumb.
no problem overtly challenging you.
Yeah, that's what we don't want, you know. Sure, we'll listen to her. If you know, there's a difference between like maybe advising a husband, right, or challenging a husband all the time. I'd rather someone advise me and me listen to the advice that's given and me act accordingly to it, right? So no, we don't want how should I put it? We don't want someone to challenge us, because your idea of challenging is who's basically whose cassava will hang lower. That's your version of challenge.
King treatment and knowing your partner's love languages, that's one thing. Being submissive is a whole nother thing. It's its own thing. If you...
No, it goes hand in hand. But I don't even consider myself a king, you know. But if I built my household from the ground up, if I built what we call a aul, if I built my aul, or if I built my sudu from the ground up, and I'm bringing a woman into that world, into that spot, then she's going to be under my guidance, you know. I'll give you an example of why partnerships don't work. A lot of guys, unfortunately, make the mistake of moving in with girlfriends. And we see how that plays out when they move in and their name ain't on the lease. And, you know, they may be paying part of the rent. But then they get in an argument. She calls the cops. Hey, you know, this guy won't leave, although you've been paying half and stuff like that. And all of that goes down out the drain. So that's why a woman should always be on your program.
Find yourself abandoning your wants, needs, desires to make something work. I'm here to tell you, it was never a match to begin with.
So there you have it. You know, her talking out her ass again, because at the end of the day, she's about to push 30 something, and she just like, yo, it's a wrap. Now let's look at the comments though. Let's look at the comments of her. Let's look at the comments. Let's look. talk, Britt. That last part. Thank you. It takes a special kind of match. The queen has spoken. Yes, girl, stay single. Marry a rich man, then divorce him. Easy living. Woo, friend. I can hear heartbreaking right now. And I opt. Great advice from a single mom who can't get a man to commit to her. Appreciate it. I'm liking that comment. Yeah, I'm going to say, well said, bro. They hate the messenger because it be nothing but facts. You're preaching, Brit, but they not trying to hear that from you. Okay, here's a simp. I love me some backbone. F what I'm going to do with a doormat. Okay, simp. One other woman. I will never be submissive. F that. I just love her. I want a perfect poly puppet that won't give me any pushbacks or headaches. True that. Free PJ's bank account. I'm gonna put that part right there. That part. Is this spoken from your experience in successful relationships? Single and 30. It's spoken from her riding the carousel. So here's another one. Many moons ago, being submissive worked when women were oppressed by not being allowed to work, vote, get divorced, make decisions on their own. Islam already solved that before that. And, the women back in the Prophet's time, like Salatu Salam, they were still submissive. This is no longer the status. Men seem to be struggling to let go of outdated framework. Let's see. Manifesting magic. Manifesting magic, creator of happy vibes, lover of life, transcending into my awesomeness, and she is still single. And it looks like she is a single mother. Yep. Okay. Here goes the simp. Simp alert. The word submissive is a word that in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, but that was used to control white suburban Susie homemaker. But they want to use that on today's woman, and that ain't gonna happen unless you're a Mormon. Let's see this loser. Well, he looks like a loser though. That's the thing. He looks like a loser. Free PJ, 100%. Of course, Modern Woman podcast, please. Oh, wait. Uh-oh, but she would be called a pick-me. Only American women think of submission being a bad thing, like anything else. It's your perception on any subject that influences what your outcomes will be. If you don't want to submit, don't. If you do, then do what works for you. Simple. There's no need to be condescending towards women that are because you think they are being puppets. Now I'm going to end on this note. Let's take it to scriptures. In Ephesians 5, it says, submit to one another in the fear of God. And it specifically says, wives, submit to your own husbands as unto God. Then it says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church, which means you are willing to protect her with your life. So you're totally correct. If you're not a wife or husband, you don't have to do a damn thing. But if you choose to be a wife or husband, you're both required to have the Most High as the head of your relationship. That's the formula. Anything else is chaos. I have to agree. You're a side piece is best. She's below a side piece, bro. One guy said, get a cat because you will be alone with a beta male. Stop giving all this bad advice just because you messed up your chances. Real men are laughing at you. Oh, and PetSmart's got to sell on cat food, so stock up. And I'm going to end on my note about what I wrote. I said, need some cat food, or I'm breeding Central Asian Shepherds, but they may be too big for you as they grow large. But you know what it is, guys. I'm just going to just leave, and that's what we're going to do. And yeah. Again, Brittany Renner being Brittany Renner, man. But Fuller signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Like and subscribe to the page. Unjaram.